On my way of trying to find the most interesting mice, I sometimes land on brands like this. And let me tell you, Dark Project really cooked with this one. At this moment, Dark Project offers two models of mice, Novus and the Nexus, but in multiple variants. I really wanted to try their cheapest and most expensive options, so I opted for Novice SE and the Nexus Ultra. I gave those quite a bit of use time, and this is what I think about them. Novice SE was first, and I'm extremely glad I gave it a try, because to be honest, this is a total hidden gem. For around 50 euros, you not only get a good wireless mouse, but to me, one of the best wireless mice I've tried. Unboxing is super basic. A mouse, cable, receiver, and spare skates. Well, sometimes you don't even get spares with more expensive mice. You do here, and the overall quality and experience of using the Dark Project Novus SE shoots way above its 50 euro price range. Starting with the build, it's crazy good. Mouse is super sturdy, nothing creaks, moves, or makes any undesirable sounds. And the coating. Guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Novice SE has coating comparable to endgame gears. There's no way this thing is gonna feel slippery. It's extremely grippy, and with that also comes the negative of a fingerprint magnet. It looks nasty, but it works. And I'm very glad it works, because you don't need to use any grips with it, only if you wanna help the fingerprinting problem. Switches are mechanical, and to my surprise, these very well-known Huanos. They are easily spammable, very clicky and responsive, don't have any noticeable pre or post travel, and also pretty much no button wobble. Scroll wheel has nice and defined steps, just the right amount of resistance, but the click is slightly stiffer than I'd like. The sound it makes is kinda strange, but it doesn't affect usability at all. Side buttons are top-notch and very easily spammable. On the bottom there's a DPI button, on-off switch, this nice receiver storage, and skates. And skates keep on following the pluses because they glide well, aren't scratchy, and I don't think there's any need to switch them immediately. Pretty much everything quality-wise is nice, but as I always preach, shape is king, and this one is interesting. At first I was slightly unsure what it reminded me of in the hand, but then it hit me. In the hand it felt like a blown out OP1, and not only the shape, but also the coating. Even weight-wise they're kinda similar. Novice SE weighs around 48 grams. Yes, it's not a one-to-one clone, because the hump sits more towards the front, but for my claw grip it was superb. It's not gonna be very comfortable for fingertip, and if anything it's pretty much fine for palm. It's kinda curvy on the sides, so claw is the best bet thanks to its stability. And when it comes to actual gaming, there were absolutely zero issues. I haven't found anything that worsened my experience, and the headshots were landing pretty easily. Software is nothing to brag about, but it does what it's supposed to. I set my preferred 0 millisecond dip bounce time, 1600 DPI, 1000 Hz, and I was done. And as I said previously, there are more Novus options: Novice SE, Classic Novus, and Novus Pro. You can pause for details now, but from my experience and my personal recommendation would be to just get the Novice SE. Classic Novus only gets 2K polling and a bigger battery, while the Pro only gets 8K polling on top. So just save a buck and go for the SE. What's not gonna save you a buck though is their most expensive offering, being the Nexus Ultra. Again, as with many other products, the most expensive is not always the best. For around 120 euros we're really getting up there, but let's talk a bit more and save my recommendations for later. Starting with packaging, it's very similar to Lamzu. Inside is the mouse, cable, 8K receiver, spare skates, spare glass skates, and even a bunch of grips. For the price, I'm glad we're at least getting a stacked package. Build though is also great, nothing creaks nor are there any other issues, and coating stayed as good across the price range. It's not slippery at all, grips great, but if you're not satisfied enough, you can still apply the provided grips. Switches are now changed from mechanicals to optical omrons. These are extremely light, very easily spammable, and to be honest, quite well implemented without too much pre or post travel. Button wobble is also very minimal, but the hollow switch sound isn't as satisfying as with mechanical Huanos. Scroll wheels got nice steps, but this time the click is slightly lighter too, which to me is a plus. Side buttons, unfortunately, are lacking a bit, especially on the back one. There's quite a bit of post travel, and they aren't as good or satisfying overall. They remind me a lot of Logitech's GPX, which is a theme that follows across. Even though it's not as flat on the sides as GPX, it's still way more flat than the Novus, and Dark Project simply chose this safe potato shape that won't hurt anybody, but isn't gonna be particularly exciting. It's usable for pretty much all of the regular grip styles, but it's not gonna be anything mind-blowing. On the bottom there's a DPI button, a switch, this time also between 2.4 GHz and Bluetooth mode, and pre-applied dot skates. These dots feel okay, they aren't extremely fast or slow, but skate selection is really generous, so everyone can pick their own. What I'm not a big fan of are these pre-selected spots for dots, which really limit the usage of skates. Weight-wise, we're still in the same ballpark, so no issues with that, and performance was also matching. Everything worked as supposed to, 8K polling also shown no issues as expected, and software was identical to the Novus, so everything was there, simple to set and forget. Nexus offers two options, this Ultra and the regular Nexus for half the price, and if there's one thing I've learned during all of this, it's that don't buy the Nexus Ultra. If you want a safe GPX shape with Bluetooth support, the regular Nexus with 2K polling is gonna offer you pretty much the same for cheaper. And if I had to choose between the Nexus and the Novus, shape-wise, Novus beats Nexus any day of the week, and out of the 5, I'd just take the cheapest option, the Novice SE. Yes, you don't get the most accessories and the high polling, but for 50 euros, this is a very capable, well-made mouse without any noticeable compromises. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Here, check out another one, and I'll see you again next Friday. Bye!